what you're saying is from.
It was Hebrew.
No, but you wait a minute. You go by your Bible only. Am I right? So I'm not restricted like you to only have the standard as the Bible and everything else is insignificant. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
For you, you need to stick to your principle. So what you have to do is you have to show me from the Bible that he spoke Greek. There you go. So it's a speculation on your part, my friend.
Some of his disciples weren't even Hebrew or Jewish.
His disciples, which one?
I can't. I'll have to get it. Now, I said
If
you're
you're
going down to the lines there. I'm sure one of them was. I'm not going to swear to it.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Even if they were not, the fact is that most of his disciples were Hebrew, and they used to.
Most of them were Hebrew.
Yeah, most of the Jewish people, and they used to have this local dialect. I don't think they spoke Greek. Yes, maybe they might have spoken some other people, but most of those people, they were not even learned. Peter and John, it says in that they were unlearned. Exactly.
In a Greek area.
Now, how will you explain the Gospel of John, which is written in perfect Koine Greek? There's no other evidence of any other manuscripts.
I believe he spoke Greek. Perfect.
Wait a minute. He was a fisherman, unlearned.
Yeah.
Yes.
He spoke the local language.
So if he didn't know how to write, who wrote the Bible for him?
Well, you're saying he didn't know how to write. Where does it say he doesn't know how to write?
I'll bring it. It says Peter and John, they were unlearned.
Unlearned. It doesn't mean say they can't speak or write the language.
It says they were ignorant as well.
Yeah, but it still doesn't say he doesn't speak, write the language down.
So you're saying if somebody's not learned, they can actually write Shakespeare?
I'm not learned. I didn't say Shakespeare. Why would you tell a lie to try and prove a point?
It's not a lie.
Shakespeare has got to be one of the largest things in English literature to study. And you're comparing this to someone who's not learned.
I don't think you understand the logic I'm trying to put forward. Nothing a lie. If you listen to me...
listen. No, you're not controlling everything. If you're not learned, does not mean you cannot write.
Okay. First and foremost, you're getting defensive. I don't know why. The reason I asked you, if you stop and listen, maybe you'll understand.
I'm talking about, you didn't say them words, but you're saying that I'm saying things and can't back them up, and you're saying things and you can't back them up.
If you listen to me, maybe you'll understand this time. Okay, because you're looking for a reaction. Okay, there's no need for that. Yeah, if you get defensive, that's what happens. If someone hasn't been to school, you don't want to listen.
Do you think any of them went to school?
Hear me out.
Do you honestly believe any of them went to school?
Hear me out.
Do you believe
Hear me out and then
you'll
learn.
Simple question.
Yes, if you will wait for an answer, you'll get it.
That's a simple.
First, you need to wait for the friend.
I am, yeah.
Yes, try to have patience. Okay? If someone hasn't been to school or university or college, do you expect them to have knowledge in English literature like Shakespeare had?
Do I? Sorry, no.
You were not listening, were you?
No.
Good.
Yeah, did you said?
Good. Do you understand the logic now?
No, I don't understand your
because
logic.
You're not listening.
I am listening. Because you're trying to say that unlearned means they could not write down.
You were not listening.
I did. You
no.
said
What did I say about Shakespeare?
You said if somebody had not been to school, college and university could be asked to study Shakespeare.
No, he didn't listen. That is my evidence that you were not listening again.
Go on then.
If someone didn't go to university, college, and they had no knowledge about the grammar, the syntax, the structure of English literature, can they produce a book like Shakespeare?
100% not.
Thank you very much. Finally, you understood the logic? Have you understood the logic now?
Yeah, but not your logic to go back to Jesus Christ.
Okay, now let me connect it with that. Wait.
John says he's unlearned, you said.
Yeah.
Right. Does not say he cannot.
I didn't say John says it's written in the book of Acts somewhere. Okay. Now that you have agreed that no one who is unlearned can produce a book like Shakespeare's, then you need to connect that with the perfect Koine Greek in your Bible to that of this fisherman.
Do you know what Koine Greek is?
Yes, it's a language.
Yeah, but what is it?
It's an ancient Greek language.
But why do they say Koine and not normal Greek?
Because it's not normal Greek.
No, there's an ancient Greek and a modern Greek. But what's the difference? Koine Greek.
I don't know. You tell me. Is the place called Koine?
Koine Greek is it's people speaking like us now. We speak English, but we vulgarise it, don't we? We use our own terms. If you go to all different parts of the country, you'll even go as far down, I don't know, what is it? Pearly kings and queens that say silly things like apple and pears mean stairs. Yeah, right. So Koine Greek was the Greek that the average worker, person in, we say the slums, the normal person of the street spoke. Not the scholars, not the learned people. Koine Greek was that language. It was the language that they used.
Oh, you mean the scholars?
No, not the scholars.
Not the scholars.
The Koine Greek was the language of the people of the time.
So what was the academic language then?
I would say a more refined Greek.
Which is?
Well, be Greek, but not Koine.
I don't think I believe that. But anyway,
okay.
Here's the verse in Acts chapter 4 verse 13. It says, "Now when they saw the boldness of Peter and John and perceived that they were unlearned and ignorant men, they marveled and they took knowledge of them, and they had been with Jesus. So these people were with Jesus.
Pardon?
Yes? These people, they were
Yes,
with
yes,
Jesus.
yes, yes.
Now people perceived they were ignorant and unlearned because of them being fishermen or whatever that is.
That verse says that they, knowing them to be unlearned
Yeah.
and unknowledgeable,
And ignorant.
Yes, unknowledgeable, ignorant. Let's not be satanic.
Unlearned and ignorant.
Right.
Not unknowledgeable.
They,
I don't think that's
knowing
English.
them to be that,
Yeah.
were shocked that how they were now speaking differently, and that was proof that they were with Jesus Christ. That's what the verse is saying.
Speaking differently. Where does it say speaking
Well,
differently?
read the verse and you'll understand it.
Oh, okay. It says here, they marveled and they took
Marveled.
knowledge of them, and they had been with Jesus.
Yes, they marvelled because these ignorant people, unlearned, they marvelled that they suddenly, well, how this person who knows nothing, he's whatever, and now all of a sudden he's speaking these wise words and these wise things. That must be proof of something miraculous happening, and that was because they lived with Jesus Christ and learned from him.
First and foremost, let me tell you that just because somebody is unlearned doesn't mean they are not wise. In fact, most of the ancient people who were wise, most of them I think were unlearned. They didn't go to school and colleges.
I agree with you. I said that from the start.
So
when I went to school.
I think what you are talking about and what I'm talking about is completely different. I'm talking about the writing. You're talking about the wisdom.
We're talking
Two
about
different
one
things.
thing. You were trying to make out that John couldn't have written what he wrote because he was unlearned, ignorant, whatever, didn't go to school. I'm saying to you, there's nothing in the Bible that indicates that John could not write in any way, shape or form. And you're going to the verse in Acts to try and bring up that he couldn't write.
Okay, this is
doesn't
not
mean he does not write.
So what you're saying is that John, who was a fisherman, could write perfect Greek.
Koine Greek, yeah.
Where's the evidence for that?
Well, he wrote John
How do you know they wrote John?
because it's in the because the,
He didn't say by John. He says according to John. So how do you know? How do you know John wrote
it?
it?
Doesn't say according to John.
No, it says you just said it earlier. It's on camera. It's
No,
in
I
the
said
Gospels
the
according to
Gospels
Mark.
are according to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So according
But
to
it
John,
doesn't say
right?
in the Bible, does it?
Good. So how do you know John wrote it then?
How do I know?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, I said to you at the start of this, there's no reason for us to need to know or to want to know because the Bible given to us by God doesn't tell us. But obviously, at the time these things were written, there were other people that I'm not going to give strength to what people have said because man can sin, man can tell lies.
How do you know John wrote it?
I'm
Just
telling
answer
you,
that.
Well, to be 100%, how do I know John? I know that when it was claimed that John wrote it at the time, there's not
Who
one.
claimed this?
There's not one.
No, who claimed this?
There's not one denial of any sort.
Who claimed it? Before you say denial or agreement, who claimed John wrote it?
The people that I don't know the people. I wasn't alive. then.
Is it in the Bible? Let's put it in.
No, I said that.
Good.
to start.
So by your
I said
principle,
to
you shouldn't believe historians.
I said that.
You don't have
I
respect
said
for
to
historians
you,
or
I
the
didn't
church.
listen.
You
I didn't
don't.
say I didn't have respect. I said I don't.
You don't
what
believe
they
in them.
say, not as being above God. No. But
No,
what
no,
I'm
not
saying-
about God.
No, let's not
Come
change
on.
this subject now, right?
You're all over the
Would
place.
you? No, I'm not.
You are.
You are because I'm not falling into what you want me to fall into.
I don't want you to fall
Listen,
into anything except the
John-
truth.
Right. There's nothing in the Bible that says John wrote John.
So you have no evidence then.
Nothing in the Bible.
So it's just
says-
speculation.
There's nothing in the Bible. Yeah. God doesn't want us to know who wrote John.
Good. So it's speculation.
I'm not about 1 John, 2 John, and 3 John. I'm on about the gospel.
So it's possible John didn't write it.
I believe he did, but say he didn't write. Yeah.
Okay. So if John didn't write it, who wrote it?
I believe John wrote it.
No. Where's the evidence for that?
I haven't got evidence.
So you're saying it's speculation.
Yeah.
I don't believe in speculations.
No, fair enough.
Good. I believe
But
in facts.
do you know-
You and I
you-
believe in facts.
Right.
So let's get to the facts.
Do you know as well as I know
What?
that the early people at the time, they discussed this and they believed, they were the ones who put the name of John to it.
Who is that? Why are you saying they? Why didn't you say the
But that's Who
church?
they were? No, not the church.
Of course they're the
No,
church.
all that in the time of John, the church wasn't there in the
Of
time
course the
John.
church was there during the time of Jesus. Ask the Catholics, they'll tell you this.
No, well, I don't believe any Catholic. Right. John, right?
You should check that away than the Bible, because most of the Bible that you have in your hand there
No, it's
was,
not. They
was
use
came
an
down to you
entirely
from the
different
Catholics,
Bible.
whether you like it or not.
They used to
They are the ones who canonized
It's a
it.
different Bible.
No, it's not a different
Right.
Bible.
John
Yeah.
and Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. The Gospels were attributed to them by the very early apostles, which were them, and they're the people that learned from
Luke
them.
wasn't there.
Huh?
Luke never saw Jesus.
Let's go on to it. I believe he saw him.
Oh, you believe Luke saw
let's
Jesus?
change the subject first. You can have me on that one later. You haven't even proved this one first.
The answer is in Luke 1:1 that he wasn't there. He listened to other people and then he wrote.
Let me finish this before we jump in.
Yeah, go on.
Right, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John
Were
were
not there. Only two of them were
Mark,
there.
Luke and John were the ones that the early people put their names to these 4 books.
Okay.
And at that time, and no one can find any evidence of any disputation, any disagreement with that. So,
They do actually.
No, at that time.
At which time?
100 years. 100 years AD, so.
So where did you get this information from?
What?
About agreement or
I'm just
disagreement?
saying- I'm just saying, at the time...
Don't speculate, my friend. If
No.
you don't have evidence, don't say speculate. If you have evidence, tell me who wrote this, who
I
said
can't
this.
tell you who. You go over this again and
Maybe he
again.
doesn't know the history, the church's history. The
Brothers and
church-
sisters, this is recording for you. It's a preview. It will be up for you in full HD. There is a talk with Adnan going on now over here that we will be doing a live stream of now for you. So this will be turning off, but this will be turning on. Join us again in a second.
Reality.